So Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez have a little bit of breaking news for us here. They both unveiled a new policy that they proposed together. She'll obviously, propose it in the House. He brings it up in the Senate. And it's a good one. It's a good one if I don't say so myself. So what they're doing is they want to cap the interest rate that financial institutions can charge you at 15%. So they cannot charge more than 15% interest. Now, that would be huge if they got it through. Obviously, they're not going to get it through right now. They don't have control of the Senate, and they don't have the presidency either. But this is one of those issues where it's working class versus elite, the populists versus the establishment. And it's a clear distinction, and you know who's on what side. If you're on the side of letting financial institutions charge over 15% interest, well, you're saying, I'm with management. I'm with the owner class. I'm with the big institutions that are ripping people off. And listen, man, this is the kind of financial regulation that makes perfect sense. I mean, they should have rules about this kind of stuff. They should have rules also about banks being over-leveraged, because that's a giant fundamental risk to the economy functioning, is if they're taking on too much risk. There should be rules about separating commercial banking from investment banking. That's, of course, what Glass-Steagall was, and that was repealed. And even though the repeal of that led to the subprime mortgage crisis and the Great Recession, we still don't have Glass-Steagall back in place. So at least the conversation is being had now, and the debate is now happening of, we can't just let these financial institutions do whatever the fuck they want, because when we do that, they just start ripping Americans off. And Elizabeth Warren was big on this. She's the one who came up with the idea of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which, if I'm not mistaken, returned $12 billion to defrauded Americans. So, in other words, big financial institutions would rip people off and lie to them and commit fraud. It happened to me. Credit card company charged me identity theft protection, and it was nothing. There was nothing there. They were just lying about it and then stealing my money. And the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau cut me a check because they were like, you got ripped off. We cracked down on them. Here you go. See, that's what we need in this country. We need the government to represent the people, not represent the special interests, not even represent both, which is what the Democrats try to do right now. You have the Republicans who only represent the special interests. That's it. And the Democrats come along and go, yeah, we'll half represent the people and half represent special interests. No, fuck that. So now Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez are fighting on this front, and I think it's absolutely brilliant. Now, U.S. cardholders are expected to pay $122 billion in interest charges in 2019. That's 12% more than what they paid in 2017, and 50% more than what they paid as recently as 2014. Now, furthermore, we covered this story a while ago, but it's important to bring up now in the context of this story. Did you know the predatory payday loan industry, they're a $40 billion industry, okay? And they have routinely donated to the Republican Party and to Donald Trump. So, since 2015, they've lent $1.5 million to congressional lawmakers. By the way, including some Democrats like Debbie Wasserman Schultz. We should be clear about that. And they've even given $6.2 million to politicians at the state level. So they're buying everybody everywhere because they want to continue to get away with robbing you. They gave $250,000 to Trump's inauguration, and two of the most prominent predatory payday lenders gave $500,000 that also went to Trump, and they had their annual conference at Trump's golf course in Miami. So these are all ways of basically legally trying to bribe them. So what did Trump do, and what did the Republicans do in response? Well, there were these Obama-era regulations that were about to be rolled out on the predatory payday loan industry, and the Trump administration axed them. They're like, done. Deregulated. You get to do whatever you want. Also, there were court cases going on, and the Trump administration dropped the court cases. See, this is the legal bribery in America. Hey, donate to my inauguration. Hey, donate to my campaign. Hey, donate to the state Republican Party. Donate to Republicans in Congress and some Democrats. And then what do you want? I got you, dog. So now, after all that, what are they allowed to do? What are these guys allowed to do? Guys, you know how much they charge an interest rate for predatory payday loans? 390%. They charge up to 390%. Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez are fighting for working people. They want to cap interest rates at 15%. Listen, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong about this because I'm going deep in the memory bank on this one, so please, by all means, fact check me and correct my ass in the comment section if I'm wrong about it. But I think there used to be rules about how much interest you could charge. And then we had a giant era of deregulation, and, now we're back to square one with a lot of this stuff. So this is, to me, I file this under the duh category. We should have, like I said, leverage rules. We should have a wall of separation between commercial banking and investment banking. And we should have caps on the interest rate. Hey, you can have a debate as to what that line is, but you bet your ass there should be a line. Because at a certain point, it literally is just preying on poor folks. That's it. So it's a great piece of legislation, and now that Bernie's one of the front runners in the presidential race, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is one of the most, if not the most, followed member of Congress on social media, now it's got some legs. Now these conversations are seriously happening as opposed to just occurring on the margins.